Morning. So last night, session 8, Barrowmaze featuring the OSR Dragonslayer. This was an in media res start. We left off 7 as we had been hex crawling the immediate area, avoiding going back directly into the Barrowmaze for those that are following along. Again, this session, we explore the hexes and we uncover 2 more mounds. Well, we uncover yeah, technically 2 mounds. Okay, so this session takes place above the maze as we continue to recon the area around us. So session 7 left off as we just sundered a stone door of a mound when 3 giant black scorpions, we roused 3 scorpions, and they come over the mound and come after us. Fex calls everybody as we sunder the door into the mound behind me, and I call Tarlin to my side, and we try to hold the door so they have to come one at a time. That way, we minimize the number of these things and the potential threats. And it works well, but it costs Fex his life as Fex takes a poison stinger, as I described, into the eye, and I failed the saving throw, save or die. Again, this is one of the things about old D20, old D&D, the OSR, save or die is a thing, and you miss one roll, you are finished. So Fex succumbs at level 2. Fex was a level 2 fighter, had just leveled up. And like I said, it's kind of like the old Hollywood movies. The minute the cop says, yeah, I retire in 3 months, or yeah, I retire in 2 weeks, you know that character is going to die. So just as Fex levels up, you know he's going to die. Well, anyway, I suspected that when I heard we were going to face 3 giant scorpions, because I know they have multiple attacks and they have a save versus death poison, or save versus poison, I think. I don't know which. I don't know which one it is. Save versus death is it, I think. Either way, Fex is killed in that battle, but the strategy works. Ultimately, we minimize anybody's contact. Tarlin and Fex, the choleric, human choleric, suffer the most danger there. And fortunately, Tarlin was able to avoid the stingers. He did take some damage from a claw, and they're able to pepper it with missiles and spears and kill all 3 of these things. And again, much treasure is found here. Donald realizes they've let a breadcrumb of treasure to the door. He follows it around and uncovers their actual lair, and they infiltrate that and get more treasure. And then they enter this mound as I'm making a character. So I just took over Vela, one of our hirelings, the female fighter that Fex had hired um, uh, in session 6, brought along. I didn't know what Vela would be. We've just been treating her as a fighter, but as I roll her up, I don't know what she may become. Well, I rolled up a 15 strength and a 13 con, so she became a fighter. So she just slips right into the fighter role. She is level 2, as we just carry our level with us, which is cool because it keeps our party from getting too diverse in that sense. So she slips in as a fighter level 2. So I'm creating her literally while they're investigating this mount. Again, they uncover a stone uh, sarcophagus, flip the lid, and inside it is a wooden coffin in the shape of a female. And again, they uncover a handful of sealed jars. Tarlin opens one of the 4 sealed jars. It is a sweet smelling aroma. He thinks some type of sweet oil or some kind of spiced oil. Seals it up, and we bring those with us. We then head back out of that mound, and we start to navigate more north, or I should say, yeah, northwest. So we go northwest, and again, excuse me, we go northwest out, and then directly north, and we only travel another 100 or so meters or feet before we run into the marshes and the swamps, and we're forced to now go more north we headed northwest and then north. We're kind of now forced to head more northeast as we've hit the swamps and the bogs. We see two mounds from here as we come onto the sixth mound, mound 6. We also spot another mound, so we know there's another mound we can investigate after this one. Vela doesn't want to be surprised this time by something as we attempt to sunder the door. So she circumvents and goes around the mound as Tarlin does the same. And Tarlin on the other side runs into a wandering monster, a zombie undead type creature. And we all make chase, and Tarlin fights for a round or so until we all get there. And then we waylay this creature very quickly, find a little bit of treasure there. And then we return to the mound and back into the mound. This is turning into another one of those more interesting mounds, right? It says we enter. This has a long hallway with 8-foot statues along the walls. There's 2 sets of, so there's 4, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's one. So there's 5 total statues, not 8. So they're 8 feet tall, but there's 4 statues kind of in sublimation poses, etc. And at the very end is a big 8-foot statue. All of these are female shaped marble statues with gems in their eyes. And the far end north wall ends in the largest with dark opal eyes. We investigate a little bit. Vela attaches her rope to this thing and backs up and then begins to pull it to try to pull it over or pull it out. Didn't want to be anywhere around it in case it was a trap to trigger. So Vela pulls from a distance, and sure enough, it moves pretty easily out. We go back and investigate. We find that behind it is a secret door that's slightly ajar. Donald realizes that we need to push that statue a little further. And sure enough, they all put a shoulder into it, push it until it falls in and clicks, opening the door completely. We all then enter this particular chamber, and it is a burial. It's a ritual chamber. There's a large altar at the far end of the room, 2 golden jackals. Actually, that's a different tomb. I'm confusing my mounds now. Holy cow, let me get out my notes. It's 4 in the morning here, so I usually get up at 4:30 every day. So that's not unusual, but I can't remember what the heck the first. Oh no, this is the altar. That's right, I'm right. The other one had the sarcophagus in it. I forgot we only did 2. So there's a black altar, again adorned with fresco of this female, more Egyptian style art, Egyptian style sculpture. There are 2 jackals that are gold at the end of each altar. Immediately, Vela makes for one of these jackals as they are gold. And so, again, unfortunately, Vela triggers a floor trap. This will be the 3rd floor trap I, as a player, have triggered. So, but again, I'm playing it fair as Fex suffered the first 2. He's now dead. So Vela, going for this golden jackal to investigate closer, triggers a pit trap that both Felonius and her fall into. We suffer a little damage, but more importantly, there is a clockwork cobra laying in wait in this pit. And we end up in a fight with this as Vela, after a couple of rounds, after a round of realizing she was not going to probably be able to harm this, she makes a run for one of the ropes that Donald and Tarlin throw down in the pit for us to climb out, while Felonius stays and kills it and smashes it. We do get out okay. However, there was evidence that it was loaded with poison. So it's a good thing it did not bite either one of us again, as we might have lost another character. Toot sweet. Vela returns as soon as possible to the her want to look at this jackal. If it is gold, again, we've already had a remarkable treasure found in these mounds. Sure enough, they are they're so big. They sit at either end of an altar. They are solid gold. And they're about 50 pounds each. and we investigate the area, and we decide we're going to take these with us. As again, this is going to be these last two sessions will be the greatest treasure haul this group has had up to date. And so we're finding these mounds to be very lucrative. However, we've lost a player, and we've suffered a little damage. But the reality is we've just been blessed with treasure in these last mound burial mound excavations. We turn to exit, and as we do, another of these zombies is stumbled down and into this area. And again, Tarlin is facing down another one of these undead creatures as we all are turning toward the exit. Tarlin has had no luck turning anything. So Tarlin is a young cleric, or a cleric, who is waffling greatly in his faith in his god, as he has not successfully been able to call upon his god and turn any of these creatures. And so Tarlin, I think, is looking for a sign from his god. And that's where we draw the curtains. A very simple session. Started with combat, investigation, and treasure acquisition. I had to create a character on the fly in session. We then travel again to another mound. We find two. As we infiltrate this one, we end up in a melee. We end up dealing with a couple of traps. We come back and loot all the gems from the eyes. We start with just the side statues, making sure they're not trapped, and we loot those. We pry the gems out of the eyes of all these statues, and then we save the big statue for last, knowing that it had some type of nozzle in a nostril, which I had jammed when before we moved it. I had jammed it with a piece of my torn tunic, Vela's her tunic. But before we messed with these eyes at all, we made sure we jammed something more firm up there. So Tarlin had pulled out chalk, and he said, we should be able to work this into the the chalk itself will whittle away as we push this in tight. So we did, and then I scaunched it again with the rag, and I popped out the opposite side eye, no problem. I descended and handed the opal over to our treasure keeper, and then Tarlin went to work on the other eye. Sure enough, as he pops it free, he hears the mechanism, he feels and hears the mechanism trigger. Fortunately, no poisonous gas emits from the nostril as we have plugged it. And again, as we turn to leave, that is when we are faced with this zombie that has hurt us and has entered this burial chamber and has stumbled down the 5-foot incline. And we all turn to face this thing, and that's where the curtains close. And that was Barrowmaze session 8. So the last two sessions, we haven't actually been in the maze. We've encountered scorpions, giant scorpions. We've encountered undead zombies. And we've encountered a pit trap and a gas trap and a clockwork cobra. And so far, that's been the last two sessions. Pretty fun. What's been great is we have literally pulled a pretty large haul of treasure on this particular one day. These two sessions would have spanned basically, the early morning to mid-afternoon. So I think we've got a haul, and we're probably going to be able in an hour or so to head back before dark. Sell our wares and etc., and re-equipped our group for more into the actual maze, which I think we're probably going to do once we get our characters a little more equipped with better armor and gear. And then I think we'll probably go back into the maze next week. I don't know. Loving these games. Last night was fun. It was a little more casual. We had I think we were all just happy to be playing. Great time. And Vex, unfortunately, a character I really like and was really getting into, succumb. And this is why you play them, but you can't get attached to your character in old D&D or an old school or OSR games that are adhering to some of these tried and true concepts like save versus die. No matter how big and bad you get, one failed save and that character is finished, right? So Vex is no more. He was a great character, but Vela, I'm playing a female human fighter. I've got a couple of characters that were pre-made before we started that are there, but I like to take over someone that's there because it's just easier narratively. It's just easier for the group if it's somebody that's in the group. And when you roll them up, if it turns out Vela meets the requirements to be a druid, then we discover that she's a druid after the fact, right? She's been a hireling. But no, I rolled up most of your characters when you roll them up 3 dice 6 straight down. And that's what I did. I didn't drop. I didn't roll 7 and drop the low. I just rolled 3 dice 6 straight down. So I got what I got. And when you do that, you're going to find yourself generally with a thief or a fighter, because that's the nature of 3 dice 6 straight down. You're rarely going to hit all the numbers you need to be the thing you want to be. So she's a fighter, but she's 15 strength, 13 con. None of her scores, I think, are lower than 8. So she's competent, and she's level 2 fighter. So I'm thrilled. I like fighters. So it's going to be great fun to take Vela on a journey. All right. So thanks for watching. Dragonslayer, fantastic. Eloy, great job, my friend, and everybody. It was great to have David make it. David and Todd both could make Wednesday night this week, so that was awesome. And of course, Jorge, Jose, and myself returning from last week, right? So great fun. Uh, Jorge had a microphone set up last night. Normally he doesn't go with it, but he had his headset microphone. And every time he talked, I swear to God, it sounded like a midnight DJ. He sounded like Barry White on the vinyl, It's like, I mean, every time he opened his mouth, I kept thinking kept having flashes of some late night radio DJ or Barry White, right? It was so fun. But and then I think he played it up once he knew it. I think he played it up. All right, everybody, have a wonderful week. Bye bye.